So first and foremost, thanks for logging on. This clearly is Michelle Antionette. She is our national VP. She's been with Arbonne for 10 years.
I know, it's
Which
crazy.
is crazy, but I'm sure has loved every single moment of it. And I wanted to make sure that she had an opportunity to meet you both. So Devonna and Jen, you can obviously, I know, not see Devonna, but both of you are independent consultants, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's great. And we're kind of in the newer stages of everything now too for both of you. So that's a good situation to sort of feed off of one another. But I've asked Michelle just to kind of come on today, and clearly at the same house. She drove all the way from Hamilton just for me. But I wanted her to share her story with you both and just kind of breathe some life into you, because I know that things are new for you, but this is the person that I always like to go to, other than, of course, Teresa, and like there's many other people in our upline that I look up to, but Michelle is always been there for me, and she's really takes the time to coach people. So, you know, you couldn't be getting better advice from somebody. So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle. Do you want me to kind of explain who's who
why don't
first?
you tell me who I'm talking to first, because I don't even.
Absolutely. Other than a black Devonna tablet screen. We'd love to see your face. If you're ever into that, that's fine. Okay, so Devonna and I met, let's see now, back in probably June or May, right, Devonna?
Yeah.
Okay, and I met you from your mom, and we just started chatting over Facebook about Arbonne, and Devonna actually ended up coming over to my place for a Discover Arbonne presentation, and within a couple of weeks or so, you became a preferred client, and you bought some, I think it was the Prep Work line for skincare.
Yeah.
And you bought your detox scrub.
Yeah.
Awesome. And to make a long story short, she and I just kind of always stayed in touch, and we ended up having an even deeper conversation about, you know, what owning an Arbonne business was going to look like. And she ended up upgrading, if you will, in July.
Nice.
So now she's actually starting her 30-day challenge, I think, soon, Devonna?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still have to purchase it, but I want to.
Okay, perfect. So you're going to get on board with that, I hope. And then, yeah, so Devonna and I have just kind of met up a couple more times since then. And I think is that right, Devonna? Are we good?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's beautiful, even though she's got a black screen on, but she is a beautiful person. And her sister's vegan, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, and she works out and stuff, so she lives a healthy lifestyle. Okay, then there's Jen. Oh my goodness. Jen and I, when did we meet? 7 or 8 years ago, Jen?
Wow.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. So Jen and I met at Lifetime, the gym that I used to work at. And I actually signed up your dad, I think, which signed up you. And then, so we ended up bringing you into my office, and you and I have always just kind of connected on a different level. I don't know what it was. You were always passionate. We were always saying hi to each other. And then kind of through the power of social media, we've just been staying in touch over the years, and just ended up asking you a couple, I guess a month ago or so, just what your thoughts were around the 30 days challenge, because I know you had some things you wanted to work on. And to make a long story short, we tried to go to the Thompson Hotel about 47 times. Oh, none of which worked. I don't know what the heck happened.
Still haven't gone?
No, we still haven't gone.
That means you have to come to one of mine.
I know. But then Jen and I ended up getting on a Zoom call and I did a presentation with Jen, and make a long story short, she jumped right in that day, and she's on day 3 of doing her 30 days to Healthy Living Challenge.
Yep.
Right, Jen? And she has a new puppy.
Yes.
And it's a he.
Yeah, I just signed
Oh,
last week, Thursday.
What's that, girl?
It's been a week. Thursday.
Oh, it's been a week. Okay.
Yeah.
And you just recently got engaged.
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's how I know these two lovely ladies.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's a big deal, actually.
It is, actually.
So how long have you been on the 30 days?
3 days. So I started on Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And how are you feeling?
So I was telling her that the first 2 days I had like a little bit of a headache. And it was almost like not a stomach ache, but like it kind of felt like not a cramp. I don't know, maybe between sore stomach cramp. But it kind of deterred me from wanting to like snack at night, because I was like, no, my stomach's not feeling it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Good,
so
yeah.
we're feeling good today. I haven't had a headache, so yeah,
Great.
it's been great. Yeah.
And did you normally drink coffee and tea and
That's
stuff?
exactly what I answered. I'm like, were you drinking coffee? She said no.
Oh,
So coffee, no.
And lots of water. So I think it's just a natural sign of detoxing for sure.
yeah.
Right.
That's but tea, yeah, but it was all herbal tea, so.
Right.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, headaches is like a natural side effect of a bit of detoxing and stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And Devani, you haven't started it yet?
No, I haven't.
Something holding you back?
I don't know, really.
No?
No.
Okay.
She'll start
Just
sooner.
check
Than,
it.
yeah, she's
I-
got her info a couple days ago, but yeah, I think she's ready. She keeps asking about it,
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
we're ready to get you started, girl.
It took me a long time to finally do it, though,
Yeah.
to be honest. Like I just was nervous about doing it.
Same.
In some ways I didn't want to fail. In other ways I didn't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to give up a lot of the things that I loved.
Yeah.
And so it took me
Wine.
a while. And it also was like, I don't need to lose any weight. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. For me it was wine.
It's also wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I started this business was because I was invited to a presentation and they said there was wine and cheese there. So that's the only reason I went.
Oddly enough.
I know. Little did I know, 10 years later, I'd be running like this
That's
multi-million-dollar business. So
Right.
it's like
So
crazy,
incredible.
Crazy how that happens. Yeah.
So tell us how you got started,
So-
girlfriend.
Okay, I'll tell you my story. So my background's a nurse. I was a nurse before, and I was a registered practical nurse. I loved being a nurse. I mostly did palliative care. And so that was fun for me. I really enjoyed it. Then I got married, had kids, and decided to stay home. I had 4 children, decided after having 2 that I wasn't going to go back to nursing. It was too expensive to have a daycare, to pay for daycare, and then just do all that shift work. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. So I decided not to keep nursing at that point. So then I started doing other things to make money. I was actually in another network marketing company too.
What?
I know that I
How
started.
dare you?
I know, right? That was like when I was 19.
Which one?
So at Melaleuca.
Mallow. I've never heard
Yeah.
of it.
So it's still around actually
it?
to this day. Yep, it is. It has a very different compensation plan.
Okay.
I was quite successful in that as well.
Oh, I did not know that.
But success there, you didn't make as much money. So compensation plan has a lot. So when I came, so fast forward, when I was introduced to Arbonne, I did have an idea of other companies and other types of compensation plans. I didn't want an auto ship. That was one
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to stock products. That was
Yeah.
another big thing.
You had to do that with the other
I
company?
really need, yeah, you
Yeah.
need to do auto
Yeah.
ship every single month, order stuff. So it had to be like this reoccurring thing. Most people start this because they need money, not because they want to spend like a monthly amount of money, right?
sure.
So anyway, so when I stopped nursing, I still had that, which I was making $500 a month. That was considered successful, $500 a month in that company. And I know,
Back
is
then
that
it was a lot of
crazy?
money though, no?
Well, I know, right?
I mean,
Yeah, like any money's good money,
Oh,
right?
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also started painting on the side. I would
Oh
sell
my
my
goodness.
artwork. I also did house cleaning, so that was like a little extra. So I kind of did a bit of everything.
You're
really.
like Devonna. She has like 87 jobs.
Yeah, it was like you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
so, anyways, but then I was introduced to Arbonne 10 years ago when I was invited to wine and cheese evening, and I really just went for the wine and the cheese, and that's where I met Valerie. She's my national vice president. She's from the States, and she had come up to start a team in Canada, which I thought was crazy. And then when she was talking about how much money you could make, you guys are consultants already, so you already know how much money you can make, right? So like, the first level is like maybe $300. The second level is like $1,500. The next level is, 68,000 a month.
Yeah.
And then the top level is 19,000. Well, she was like making, over 30,000 a month. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. She's lying. And I didn't, it wasn't that I meant to be racist or anything. I was just like, she's American. She's just telling stories. She just want to sell stuff, whatever. Like I totally didn't believe her. I was
thought
like,
she was full of it.
I did.
Yeah.
I totally did. And I sat there with my arms crossed the whole time, sipping on my wine. I was like, there's no way. So when I left that presentation, I got to take home a free sample. I thought, perfect, I'm taking the free sample home because nobody's going to ask me to buy, because obviously you can't buy without trying. So being Dutch and everything, I was like, I'm not buying. So I know, brutal. So I took it home, and then the girl who hosted the party, she followed up with me. She was very good at follow-up. She kept like, did you try the product? I was like, no. And I really wasn't intending on trying it. I literally had no intention of ever trying that sample. I just thought, I'm going to go home with the sample, and that's the end of that, you know, good luck to her.
And then when you declutter, you're going to throw it in the garbage.
Exactly. Like, it literally just, it sat there, I think, on my counter for at least a week before I was like, okay, fine, she's not giving up. Like, I better try it. And so I did, and I actually did really like the products.
Was it the RE9?
It was the RE9. Yeah. So I tried it within 24 hours. I was like, oh, my skin, like I could tell a difference on my skin. Like my skin felt smoother, and it was amazing. So then I thought, how am I going to get these products? They're kind of expensive. Like, who pays $350 for a skincare line? Like, that is crazy. That's like half a mortgage payment. So,
Go ahead. Got on. Yeah, she got on and then left. It's all good.
So then, anyway, so I was like, that's crazy. Like, who does that? But then she broke down the cost for me. She's like, you can get it 50% off. And being Dutch, I was like getting the best deal I could. So I did end up getting it, and I loved it. And I used it for 3 months before I even took a look at the business opportunity. But it kind of stuck in the back of my mind, the income potential with it. And I knew in network marketing, you could make a lot of money. I knew you know, the next wave of millionaires was coming from network marketing. I knew all that stuff, but I wasn't sure I could do it. Like, I didn't know I had what it took, because I'm super shy. Like, I didn't know people. I was a stay-at-home mom now. I was like kind of a recluse, really. Like, I didn't even do makeup.
Hi, Michelle.
I'm Michelle too.
Yeah,
so.
Michelle.
Hi. So that's the part that really worried me about doing this business opportunity.
So self-doubt.
Huge.
Yeah,
huge. It was huge. But I knew I wanted to get the products at a discount. And I also thought I'm pretty coachable. I didn't pretend I knew anything. So I did get in contact with Valerie, and I was like, just tell me what I need to do. I'll do it for 2 years.
Okay.
And at the end of 2 years, if it's not working for me, I'm just going to walk away. So that's what I told myself. Because I knew, like, theoretically, I knew, you know what, no multi-million-dollar business starts with, you know, a little, like, no effort at all. And I knew you had to put effort into it. And I thought, I'm just going to do what they tell me to do. So that's what I did. And then within, you know, about 14 months, I became an area manager. So I did promote like super fast. I became a district manager within 2 months, then an area manager in 14 months. And within 2.5 years, I became a regional vice president. I was shocked. I was literally shocked.
It's amazing.
But I definitely worked hard. Like, I got out there, I did what they told me to do. And I literally read my notes. Like, I was so nervous. Like, I had little cue cards.
Presentations.
Yeah. I went through the catalog because I was like, I got to tell them about this stuff. So I went through the catalog. I had my little cue cards, like, you know, what you write your cookbook recipes on. And I wrote down there, like, RE9 line. And I wrote 3 points. And I wrote the next one, 3 points, you know. And I literally would go out and I would do that. And I would ask people to host a presentation for me, or, you know, or meet me for coffee. And I would just say, I just need to practice my presentation, which was totally true because I was so nervous about it.
Absolutely.
And that's what I did. And I just kept doing that. And what I felt like as a person, I started to change, and I started to become more confident. And I started to be able to meet other people, and I saw people who wanted to do more with their life, and I wanted to do more with my life too. Absolutely. And I started to just appreciate the value I brought to the table, which was something I'd never appreciated before. I was actually married to a guy who was very abusive. He was physically and mentally, emotionally abusive. So I had very, very low self-esteem just on account of that. In fact, you get into a relationship like that because you have low self-esteem, to be honest. But
and look at you now.
And so that was a huge thing. So when I became a regional vice president, I was making about $80,000 a year. I picked up my kids and we left, and we actually hid in a for a week in Niagara Falls, and lived there for a week, didn't tell anybody where I was, left a letter saying I am gone, I am never coming back, and et cetera, et cetera. And
That's crazy.
And so I've been a single mom supporting my kids now for the last 7 years, and Arbonne is my only income.
Yeah.
And so, so it's kind of cool actually, because now I see this business opportunity as giving so many opportunities, especially to women. Like I'm super passionate about women having, freedom and flexibility. Like I can drive my kids to school and I can pick them up and I can travel and, like there's so many things that I can do. And for a lot of women, they don't make, $80,000 a year or $100,000 a year, or even like $50,000 a year is like difficult for some people, right? So,
and if they make that much, then there's always a need for more, especially if you do have children and just like trying to survive in this lifestyle. Like I feel,
totally.
Having a side hustle at this point in life is almost a necessity. It really is, And then look at how much it's transformed Michelle's life. Like she's a completely different person now, like totally in a better space period at a story from start to finish. And I don't know, like, yes, you can absolutely thank Arbonne for that. Like it's definitely part of the puzzle. You still have to create your own, pathway, but that's an incredible story.
Yeah, it's a good story. Not everybody has a story like that, but for me, it became my passion. And honestly, I couldn't share a lot of my story beforehand.
Yeah.
Like I can now because I'm kind of removed from very, very toxic time in my life.
Yeah.
But now when I talk to people, I know every single person who gets involved with Arbonne. You guys probably experience this already. It's like whether you follow an Arbonne consultant on Instagram and see all the positivity, or whether you use the products and your body becomes healthier and you just get to, experience like a healthier vibration, or whether you become a consultant and you are able to make like a large amount of money and you're able to give back to charities and you're able to help other people. Like the only way you can be successful in this is by helping other people. Absolutely. And so every day,
and that's so gratifying.
I love it.
I can't, your regular 9 to 5, depending on the line of work that you're in, doesn't necessarily give that to you. So it's such an incredible feeling. And that's, I just said this to Jen last week. Like I don't know if, any other company can really provide that type of support and upline and positivity. And I'm not knocking any other marketing company. It's not about that. It's just that Arbonne really does breed positivity and success. And it's so addicting. Really, it is in the best way. Really is.
Yeah, because it does make you change. And to think that I started because I only wanted an extra $3,000. Like that was my big goal. Like just an extra $3,000 a month would be perfect.
Perfect.
And a lot of people start, like my daughter's 18 now and she just started building her Arbonne business. Well, because she's got to live the lifestyle. She's like, why would I want a 9 to 5? Like I'm just going to build an Arbonne business, So that's it's so rewarding for me as a mom, because she's like the personal development. She gets to live on a daily basis. When your 14-year-old is like listening to Tony Robbins and, thinking about
The Secret.
It's like,
it's
people think my kids are crazy and they're just, so much further ahead, developmentally that way.
Sure.
So
I think that's also the proof in the pudding. Like this business is for almost everyone, and most people don't know how to find that extra, I guess, oomph in their life, or never mind the income side of things. It's just everything that this business adds to your life is just outstanding. And we always talk about, what if we don't know enough people? But like, it's kind of the proof in the pudding. I didn't know Devana, 7-8 months ago, but now like we know each other and we're actually talking almost daily. Jen I've known for a little while, but now Jen's already starting to talk to other people that I have no idea who they are about Arbonne. So
I never knew you before.
I never knew Michelle. So here I am.
I think our nation has you guys are in my nation, basically. And in our nation, we have about 500 people. And of those people, there's only 2 that I knew before my Arbonne business.
Wow, that's crazy.
Which to me is really incredible, because when I started, I thought, I don't know enough people.
Yep.
And I did write out a 100-name list, and I probably contacted maybe 20 of them on that list. Like I never even contacted a lot of the people I knew because I was afraid. I was afraid to share with them and afraid. I started to join networking groups. which I was super nervous to. I'm like, what do you wear to a networking group? Like a women's, I don't know what you wear. I didn't have like business attire or anything like that. I was like, do you wear jeans? Do you not wear jeans? Like these are business people, like they're mortgage brokers or real estate agents or whatever. I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Do I bring samples? Do I not bring samples? Do I bring a business card? Do I not? But I just like, I knew what I wanted. And that I think is a really big thing. Like you have to figure out what you want. And for some people it can be a dollar amount. For some people it can be freedom. Some people make enough money now, but they just don't have the freedom to spend
Don't want to live in Canada in the winter. That's me.
Right? So
Everybody knows that.
yeah, like you gotta figure out your why. Like what's
totally.
gonna motivate you and get you out of bed in the morning. For me, it was freedom. I don't want people to tell me when to work, when to take a holiday,
How to work.
how much money to make. I'm like a super free spirit.
For sure.
Which is interesting because being like a free spirit, like an artist and stuff like that, I still get up every morning at 5 a.m. Like it's weird. I give myself a schedule because I'm excited about every day because I get to do what I want every day. I don't want to waste a single moment.
Let me ask you, what was your biggest challenge when you first started? I know you said the fact that of course you were shy and you weren't really sure like what you were doing. Like was it just that, or was it more or less like you were worried about somebody asking you a question that maybe you didn't know? Like how did you overcome that?
Well, I felt like so I think being shy was probably one of my biggest hurdles, and not believing in myself, which is still something I struggle with all the time, like not feeling smart enough or good enough. Like that's like the constant ringing all the time in the back of my head. But I think what I also found was that people like me needed this opportunity. People who felt like they weren't smart enough or good enough could do this. Like, as if I could do it, then I really felt like everybody else who didn't feel smart enough or good enough could do it too.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I really felt, like, so I'm a national vice president now, and I feel really good about that. And I feel like really proud of that accomplishment. But I also feel like I don't want to forget what it felt like to be a new consultant and a district manager and having those fears. Yeah. Because I don't think the fear ever really goes away. I think you just get braver and stronger. So I'm a lot braver now than I was before, but I'm still afraid of meeting new people, and I'm still afraid of all those things. Right. But now my why is so much bigger, and I have so much more proof that I can do it. Yeah. Which really builds my confidence. So I think it's okay to go into a business being afraid. I think it's okay to go into a business being afraid that maybe you're not cut out for it, or maybe you don't know enough people or anything like that. But also to recognize that probably most of the people that you surround yourself have a lot of the same fears too. We just don't say it. We've become just really good fakers. Yeah. Our Instagrams look great. Everything looks perfect, but behind the scenes, people actually aren't going to bed worried about their wrinkles. They're worried about whether they can pay the bills. For sure. And they might not look like that on the outside. So I feel like when I come to a conversation, I want to find a place of connection with somebody, because I think deep down we all have like big desires, and we believe in our hearts that we're born for greatness, to help other people. But sometimes
we just need to be shown. Yeah, we need to be shown what the way is. Like I never in a million years thought that. Even my sponsor asked me for 5.5 years to join Arbonne. I'm like, no. And then I came to a different time in my life where, okay, yes, I'm going to look at this type of opportunity, and like now look at me. It's been next month will be a year that I've actually seriously been doing the business. That's awesome. It's almost been 2.5 since I joined, but I did nothing with it for the first little while. Yeah. Okay, so my next question for you is for someone that's just getting started, like these 3 ladies on the call. What would be your top 3 suggestions for them to get into like activity and start to make some money and make things like make more sense for them long term?
Okay, well, first of all, how much you got to have your goals. Like you got to know how much money you want to make. Yep. And so for me, it was $3,000. Figure out what your bottom line is. What is it you want to make that's going to feel good to you? Because in my head, I knew I could make, $20,000 or $30,000 a month, but what would make it worth it for me was to make $3,000 a month. That would make it worth it for me to keep doing it, right? So figure out what's going to work for you. What's your big dream? What would be an awesome goal for you? Maybe it's 50,000 a month. Make an awesome goal, but also make a more a shorter term goal, like maybe 3,000 or 1,500 or 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you want to make sure you're listening to motivational things every day. And I don't mean motivational and like rah, you know.
You don't have to jump around your living room like I did. You don't have to. But I recommend it.
Yeah, it is useful.
It is.
But you want to listen to things that are going to teach you more. Like,
yes.
I'm sure you can share a lot of things. So I always say to people, if you're not listening to stuff, you're not growing. So you need to be listening to something that's going to help you build your belief, because you have to have belief in the business, the company. You have to have belief in the products.
Yes.
You have to have belief in yourself. And then you have to have belief in the opportunity. So when you have those beliefs in those areas, and there's different ways to grow those different beliefs, then you're going to be able to build your business. If you don't believe, there's nothing I can say that's going to make you do what needs to be done. Like, you have to see that. So then you have to get into activity. And I like the daily tracker. Do you use the daily tracker? No. It might be worth sharing.
Okay.
So it's super simple. Reach out to 3 people. 3 people, and see if they want to try a sample.
I do that daily. I just don't use the tracker. So you actually write down who you're speaking to?
It's a very simple tracker. It's like a daily method of success.
Okay.
And a lot of people, what they do is they just print that off. They'll print off 5 of them. And you have to decide what you're willing to do. Are you willing to do it 2 days a week, 5 days a week? Whatever you're willing to do, you just build that muscle slowly up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So maybe your goal is you want to talk to 3 people a day, only 5 days of the week. You want to take Saturday and Sunday off, right? So then you start on Monday and you reach out to 3 people. You start Tuesday, you reach out to 2 people. You didn't fail because you still reached out to 2 people.
Yeah.
Then, you're like, oh shoot, I missed the 3. So Wednesday you're like, I'm just going to do 4 to make up for yesterday, but maybe you only do 1. So then every day is a new day, and every sheet is a new sheet. You know what I'm saying? So because it's like going to the gym, right? You're like, I'm going to become strong and fit. You're not going to become strong and fit.
Well, and our lives are so busy. If you don't schedule it, like, chances are it's most likely not going to get done. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing that I've been putting physically in my calendar over the last even 6 or 7 months. If I don't have it in the calendar, chances are I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So,
and some things become non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Right? So maybe going to the gym now becomes non-negotiable, but possibly when you start, it's a real effort to get yourself out there.
Yeah. Sure
it's like, you got to really think about it. You got the inner self-talk of like how warm the bed is, and you'd rather not. Maybe you'll go later. What about this evening? Possibly they'll go this evening.
Maybe after
and
your
then,
shake.
well, maybe tomorrow. Yeah. Today was a bit of a write-off, and you can talk yourself in or out of anything. And that's the same with building a business. You can talk yourself in or out of it. And people are promoting to every single level of management every month. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like,
and the people that are at the top don't have anything that you don't have. Like, I want to be very clear on that. They really don't. And that was the biggest, that was the biggest eye opener for me. I'm like, oh, what do these women do that's, so fabulous, that all they're doing is simply following the formula that we're talking about now. What are you making over there, Michelle?
I am trying to make my dinner. I finally have sound. I had to get into this meeting 2 or 3 times, but.
Hi, Michelle. This is Michelle.
Hi, Harry.
I love your shirt. I want it.
Oh, thanks.
So, ladies, I wanted to give you an opportunity to ask Michelle a question or so each. We're kind of running out of time because that's the way Zoom runs. It's frustrating, but I wanted to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to ask her anything that you want. So, if anyone wants to ask Michelle, please do so. Anybody at all? Dead silence.
Trying to think of a question that I haven't asked you.
Okay, ask me.
No, I'm trying to think of a question to ask Michelle that I haven't already asked you.
Oh, that you haven't already asked me. Maybe we should ask her, what was the turning point between her becoming, I'm an area manager right now, and the regional VP is when you first get your Mercedes-Benz, and really and truly that's at the point where the income you're earning from Arbonne Ken replace a full-time income. So maybe you can explain how that transition looked for you between area and regional, and like what changed.
Okay, so it was like an area.
Actually,
I mean, it was a year.
What I'm going to do is maybe ask you to tell the girls like how important it is to find business builders. Because I feel that that's, you know, something that I wasn't really looking so much into when I first started. I was more just so concerned on constantly selling the product, which is just equally as important, but also talking and looking for those opportunities to speak about the business, maybe how you sort of got involved in that type of activity.
Well, first of all, it's common to focus first on the products when you start, because it's a more comfortable area. So most people feel like, I love the products, so I can easily sell the products. So I never asked anybody to join my team first, at least 6 months of my business.
Okay.
But then I was wondering why my business wasn't growing, you know?
Yeah.
Because selling the products, I probably have 20 customers who are loyal customers in 10 years that I've been doing this business.
And that's it.
Yes, and that's it.
Wow.
So I don't have a lot of customers. I have a lot of consultants.
Okay.
Consultants are wholesale buyers,
right?
But they also like to share their discount with their family and friends. So they don't necessarily grow a massive business,
but they're
making a little money back. They're making enough money to pay for their products.
On products they're using
and
anyways.
They're using, exactly. So I believe if you believe in the products, it's going to be easy for you to sell products, right? Because you're using, you're believing. When you believe in the business opportunity and the type of freedom that you get to live, like I can't even explain to you the kind of freedom that you can have when you build this business opportunity. And for a lot of people, they might not need it, but they don't know who in the room needs it.
Yeah.
When I was in that room, Valerie had no idea that I needed that business opportunity.
Yes.
And I just walked away with a sample, and it could have been just a product sale, right? But I needed that business opportunity. So I feel like you have to share the business and tell people about the business, but you also have to ask them.
Yeah.
So I never asked people. I thought if they watch me do the business, yay, I love my life, it's so great, they're going to want to join my team. But they don't.
No, they don't.
They just are happy for you, you know? So now it has to be,
you have to ask.
You got to ask.
Yeah.
You got to be like, would you be interested in making an extra $1,000 a month? Would that be something that, you know, you would like to do? Or would you be interested in having more time freedom?
Yeah.
Would you be interested? Somebody in the room is always going to be looking for more money. And you got to find out who that is.
Yep.
Because a lot of times nobody wants to admit they need more money.
No, it's
because it's like an embarrassing thing. I wouldn't have stuck my hand up and said, yeah, we're struggling paycheck to paycheck. We can hardly pay our bills. Yeah. Nobody's going to say that, right?
Absolutely
so
not.
Your job is to share the business, share the opportunity, and make it look doable. Me reading my cue cards, you know how many people looked at me and was like, my goodness, that girl, she got a rash growing up her neck because she's so nervous. I bet I could do a lot better job of this business than she's doing. I'll join your team because I'll show her how it's done. That's fine. I didn't care.
And it's honestly like the worst thing that can happen is that they say no. And like, that's the way I operate my life. Like no one's paying my paychecks my bills, but me. So if I get a no, and if it's not a definitive no, I will make sure that I ask permission to stay in touch with that person, but then I will make sure that I follow up in the right way and manner. And eventually some of them come around, and some of them don't, and that's okay too. But look at myself. It was 5.5 years before I ever said yes to this business, and it was, you know, that's my biggest regret, but it also wasn't the right time for me at that point. So, well, ladies, I just wanted to say thank you so much for logging on, and I did record this, so I'd be happy to share it with you. And I will close with saying that Michelle's always been a support system for me, and I know that you're all aware that I'm here to support you in anything that you need. But so is Michelle, and so is a ton of other people in our upline. Like, that's what we're here for. And if you need anything or have any questions, we are 100% here for you guys, no matter what. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, love you, girls. Thanks so much for logging on, and have yourself a really good night. No problem.
Great meeting you.
Bye.
See ya.